somebody. And then lastly, I really started getting concerned about our voter integrity and what was the process and how it was happening. And so I went and I talked to a few people and they said, well, why don't you become a poll worker? And I was like, okay. And then they were like, why don't you be an election judge? And I was like, okay. And surprisingly, it was very easy. And so it's just getting out there. Yes, it takes time. Yes, it gets us off our couch. Yes, we have to make our voices be heard. But it's amazing how much change can be made when we do it peacefully, in order, and we just go and talk face to face like we're doing today. So thank you so much for listening to me. So go out, send an email, make a phone call, and make an appointment with your local representatives. Thank you.
No button, right? No button? What's that? Talk loud, all right. How's everybody doing today? How do we enjoy our freedoms here in America? Woo! That's it? One person enjoys freedom here in America? Yay! All right. How is that freedom protected? Second Amendment, right? The only reason why we still have the rights here in America is because of the Second Amendment. Without it, if we're disarmed, we're controlled even more, right? That's why the Democrats are going very hard at our Second Amendment rights. The first thing that they're doing, obviously, is the red flag law, right? Anybody know about the red flag law? Yeah. That is the most dangerous law probably than any magazine restriction and anything that we can do, because all it takes is just a judge, which is more than likely liberal, or like they want this mental evaluation, which is going to be a liberal psychiatrist, to tell you that you don't have the right to own a gun because you're either mentally ill or they deem you might actually commit a crime. That means you're guilty until you prove yourself innocent. Plain and simple, that's how it works. So if we don't start standing up to this tyrannical government that's happening right now, because at the end of the day, the reason why we're here is because we've been deemed the silent majority. We've been silent for too damn long. The Second Amendment says shall not be infringed, doesn't it? Yeah. That means we should have the same access to guns, military personnel, that our military has. Because it's not supposed to be infringed. They've infringed on it too much. The fact that we can't get certain weapons means it's been infringed upon way too much. And now you have in Texas, what do you have? The constitutional carry, right? We can't even get our own Republicans in the state of Texas to get on board with constitutional carry. That should be our constitutional right to begin with. They're fighting in between the House and the Senate amongst Republicans. We own the Congress, or should own the Congress, in the state of Texas. And it's a battle for us to just carry a weapon, to defend ourselves, to defend our family, and to defend our neighbors. This is why it's important, as she had just said earlier, to get involved locally, because it all starts locally. Because guess who's going to enforce those gun laws that come into place? Your local sheriff, your local law enforcement. Correct. That's why it's important to vote in a good sheriff, not a bad sheriff. Unfortunately, sheriffs and law enforcement, just like the courts, have become partisan issues, partisan people. And as long as we sit back and remain silent, our gun rights will absolutely be taken away. If you guys aren't paying attention to what they call us, Trump supporters, what are we? We're insurrectionists, aren't we? Guess what that means? That means they can put us on a list, and then we get red flag law, which is exactly what the Democrats are pushing through, of which they own Congress and the presidency. No more can we rely on the Supreme Court when it comes to our gun rights. We can't rely that it's going to go through the court system and be upheld. We have to start fighting back now and start making our voices heard now so that we can keep it, because when the Second Amendment goes, guess what goes next? First Amendment. Then we can't even do this. And if we can't even do this here in America, I talked to several people on TikTok from overseas. They can't do this. Why? Because they're unarmed and they don't have freedom of speech. That's plain and simple. They're told what they're allowed to say, what's offensive, what's racist, what's bigoted. They're told what's that. We're starting to be told that here in America, right? Between the media, between your co-workers probably, I'm sure. Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all of it. And yes, we can say, oh, well, it's a private company. Well, guess what private companies are doing? Now they're getting involved with the vaccine and the virus, aren't they? That's the main thing that we have to worry about here in America, is that if the Second Amendment goes, we're done as a country. We're 100% done as a country. I mean, granted, we have police protecting us, but I can guarantee probably 90% of us are armed here as well. Why do you think BLM is not here? Why do you think Antifa's not here? I've been talking to other Freedom 515 rallies across the nation. Guess who showed up in Michigan? Antifa. Guess what? They don't have the same gun rights we have. That's why they don't come to Texas. That's why they don't come to red states. Because they know we're armed. They know we have the freedom to carry the guns. It's funny, I talked to people across the country about Texas and the constitutional carry laws. They already thought we had it. We're behind as Texans, as we have been for decades. We don't hold Governor Abbott accountable. We don't hold Governor Rick Perry when he was a governor. We don't hold them accountable. We never have. Because here's what politicians do if you're not keeping an eye. The first year, maybe year and a half, maybe 2 years, the first thing they do is they do whatever they want because they're already elected. Then is what they do here in the state of Texas, if you're not paying attention. Then they start tugging on us Texans' heartstrings. Guns and secession. That's what Abbott's doing, right? Did we remember that during COVID, he shut down businesses? He shut down small businesses? Did you know that during COVID, he tried to sign a $100 million contact tracing? We forget about that as voters. But then is what we do is, oh, well, he's going to sign in constitutional carry. He's been on bid. Why did he do that 4 years ago? Where's it been? Because he knows how to get reelected as Texans, because that's what he does. Rick Perry did the same thing for years when he tried to do that mandatory vaccine for HPV. Then he started bringing up secession. And then he got reelected. Because us Texans, we know how much we love Texas. We know how much we love our guns. And they start tugging at our heartstrings on those topics when it comes time to start their reelection campaign. And then we forget about the $100 million contact tracing that he did, or tried to do. We started forgetting about that small businesses have been closed down for good because he closed down. South Dakota never closed down. You know what their governor said? A virus does not trump the Constitution.
Yeah.
Where was our governor? Where was Abbott? Now you see Daddy DeSantis over there acting like Mr. Crown and like Trump is, and praise to him because he's a great governor. Why are we following their lead? We're Texas, man. That's what we've always done.
We're the boss.
We should be the boss.
We are the boss.
Well, we got to start, as she said, we got to start getting into our politics. We got to start putting pressure on them. When Abbott knows, or any politician, whether it be Democrat or Republican, whether they know it or not, when they're comfortable, they do whatever they want. They all know how, whether it be their base or our base, they know how to tug at their base's heartstrings. And they do it. And they do it repeatedly and repeated and repeated. And then that's how they remain in office, like Dianne Feinstein for almost 50 years. That's how John McCain can die in office as a senator.
We need to fire them.
We have to start firing. We have to start giving lower people that aren't your traditional politicians a chance. And that starts in the primary, mind you. But if we don't start doing that as Texans, those Californians that are moving here in the masses are going to take away our gun rights. Well, but our machines are right here in the state of Texas. Yes, they are, because Dominion's illegal in the state of Texas. Now, are we perfect? No. Can there be room? Of course. There's always room for improvement. And that's where we, hold most of these rallies like we're doing, but we get larger. We get louder. We have to start getting louder. If we don't, and we remain the silent majority, and we stop fighting back because we're silent, the first thing to go will be our Second Amendment rights. The second thing will be our First Amendment. That's 100% is what the goal is. That's why they're wanting to limit magazines on the number of bullets that you're allowed to defend yourself with. That's why they're trying to restrict. In one of the gun bills, a Ruger 1022 would be considered illegal. My son, 10-year-old son, owns a Ruger 1022. It's a 22. But according to one of the bills, that would be considered illegal if and when it passes. And I say when because at the end of the day, Democrats hold Congress. But 2022, guess what? 100% of the House is up for re-election. 32 Senate seats are up for re-election. Vote them out! Vote them out! Vote them out! And it starts with getting involved locally, and you move your way up. We've done this process in America, and the media has allowed it. We've gone backwards. We start with presidency, and we work our way down. If we haven't noticed yet, coronavirus didn't show us enough. The president doesn't have a whole lot of power. It's all in Congress. As much as Trump was being railed for not shutting states down, he doesn't have the authority to at the end of the day. Mind you, Biden was saying that he was going to issue a mask mandate. Guess what he didn't do? He didn't issue a mask mandate. Guess what? He didn't have power. And that's what we have to start realizing when it comes to government. The most of the power what's going to affect you is local. That's why what's going to enforce these gun laws is local. When our sheriff in the county I live in, East Texas, in our county, when he was running, I called him out, and that was my first question to him because that's who's going to enforce the gun law. Where do you stand when Biden comes into office and starts limiting our gun rights? I wanted to know where he stood, and his direct answer was, if it infringes on the Second Amendment, I will not enforce it. Those are the politicians or sheriffs that we need in office. Yes. And then we have to hold them accountable and keep them accountable. Stop letting our politicians get comfortable because shall not be infringed has been majorly infringed. And it won't stop. They're going to keep, our previous generations, and no disrespect to them, has allowed this to happen. That's why fully automatic weapons are illegal. That should have never happened. There was a professor that was on Fox News the other day this week. He said this is the most compliant generation in American history. COVID shows that. And if we continue to be compliant, we will be giving up our guns. We will be restricted more on our guns. That's why the Second Amendment and why we cling to our guns is like the left says, hell yes, we cling to our guns. Because without them, we're nothing. So continue to vote, hang on to your guns, buy more guns, get more guns, and let's protect America and our First Amendment and all the other freedoms that we have.
Good job, buddy. Good job.
Okay, can y'all hear me? I feel a little bit like Britney Spears. Rock it, girl!
Get it, girl!
Okay, my name is Lori Jean. I'm a nurse. I work in ICU. I'm also the founder of United States for Medical Freedom and Texas for Medical Freedom. This is probably my 20th month is going to be Freedom Friday. So DFW is going to have a Fort Worth meeting every single first Friday of the month, starting with June 4th at Native Coffee, because this whole time they didn't make us mask up. They let us come every single week. And so Native Coffee is on Heritage Trace, and it's in Alliance Town Center. So if y'all want to go to Native with me, I'll be there from 4 to 8 every single Friday, first Friday of the month. We're going to call it Freedom Friday. So everybody can gather together, and here's my heart for that. It's that farmers who are local will come. Why? Because we need to keep them in business. And why? Because Walmart says they're going to increase a vaccine passport one day. So we're not going to try to keep Walmart and China in business. We're going to try to keep our local, grass-fed, organic farmers in business. So I hope that if you have a farm, that you will come and you'll get people to buy your products, or even if you make things, because we need to start uniting. People need to know who has what skills, because if the SHIT hits the fan, y'all, we all need each other. And so we need to start gathering now. We don't want to wait until it's too late. So first Friday, every single month is Freedom Friday, starting at Native Coffee. It's not the one in Dallas, it's the one in Fort Worth and Heritage Trace, Alliance Town Center. Okay, I hope y'all come 4 to 8 p.m. I'll be there every single week. It's another thing I wanted to say is that the mask data, it's shocking to me. The gaiters, your t-shirts, your surgical masks, they do not protect against viruses. And it says it on the box. It says it even can cause cancer on some of those kids' masks that they sent them home with. It's literally crazy to me that even in the hospital systems right now, everyone's like, make sure you're out wearing your mask. I'm like, you know that 1,000 coronaviruses can get through every single pore in those masks, right? Like, it doesn't protect against viruses. It protects against bacteria. So maybe that's why flu is down. Or maybe it's because we've called flu and pneumonia COVID. I really don't know, right? Because we all know that the CDC admitted that 6% of their numbers is actually COVID. 6% of 200,000, whatever. So other things have happened. People have died. I've seen people die from COVID, but it's not 200,000 people. I've seen traumatic car wrecks get called COVID. They died from COVID when they died in a car wreck. They died from COVID when they died of a heart attack. Okay, guys, come on. So the boxes can say that. The Corona-19, other viruses, there was a Danish study that was done on 5,000 people, said there was no significant difference between mask wearers and non-mask wearers, that it wasn't actually protecting. There's a meta study that was being done now, and I don't have it on my notes right now, but I talked about it at the last NISD meeting, that there's been a meta-analysis of all of the harm that can be caused by these masks. And our kids, you guys, our kids, it's like, why can you go into a restaurant and take your mask off, but your children can't go sit at their desk where they're socially distanced and take their mask off? Okay, so this is really important. And the science of the pandemic, the last time I did the stats was like 50,000 people had died. That is 0.1% mortality. 0.1. We're going through this with 99.9, sometimes 99.97% of people are going to survive this thing. I think it's shocking. I think it's crazy because 0.1% of deaths is very low. It's very low. And so not 1%, 0.1.
That's a deflated number, right?
Yeah, and that's actually in the country as well. Even if you use their bogus 200,000 numbers, it's still 0.1%. But if you use the actual data, it would be way lower. And if they're children, you guys, their mortality risk is 0. That's how low it is. It's like 0.00000 something. Their risk is so low. They're not super spreaders. So don't be afraid of kids, and see your grandkids and everything. Hopefully you guys are meeting with your families, because it's really important to keep your family connection. Suicides are up this year, right? Suicides more than ever. Anxiety, depression medications are being given to people more than ever in history. And the masks do have risks, like I said. They leave your body in a more acidotic state. When you're wearing them, you actually rebreathe in your own CO2 and things like that. So I highly recommend, if you have to wear one, put it under your nose a little bit, or go outside, take some fresh air often. As far as vaccines go, who wants the government to dictate what you can and cannot put in your body? I don't want that either.
My body, my choice.
Yeah, that's right. It's always been my body, my choice, right? Always until now. Now it's like you're responsible for children not be able to have babies, right? Like I have 3 daughters and I want my kids to be able to have kids. And the ex-head researcher of Pfizer said that this vaccine can cause mass sterilization. And women all across the world right now are talking about massive amounts of bleeding, chunks from their uterus that are coming out like this. I mean, huge clots, blood issues, all kinds of stuff happening, even if they didn't get the vaccine. It's really, really important to know. That's crazy to me that there's some type of transmission or shedding going on to where there's other people that are experiencing something, even if they didn't get the vaccine. And it actually happened in the animal trials. I was looking at stuff last night with the SARS-CoV-1 where they did all the animal studies and they died. But then I looked at the new animal studies that they're starting to do on ferrets, and they actually started to transmit even indirectly to each other. Really, really interesting things. So the ex-head researcher from Pfizer is the one that said that it could cause mass sterilization and infertility, and that we need to pay attention. So I would highly recommend that you do your research, probably not on Google, probably use DuckDuckGo, to look that up before you subject your children to that. Since this week, the FDA failed, I would say, the American people because the ACIP just passed yesterday or the day before, which is ACIP stands for Advisory Council for Immunization Practices. That's how we pass vaccines in this country. And they usually don't say no. So 12 to 15-year-olds can now be given that. And they're going to have this huge, clinic in Dallas Fair Park for all of the ISDs to bus their children on over for these vaccines. And they're supposed to have parental consent or a parent with them, but 12 to 15-year-olds. So I do know a lot of people who want to protest for that. If you're interested in that, let me know, because we have a lot of Is for vaccine signs and things like that that we need to use. And we had 18 teams in Texas start to get banners. We actually raised money. With Texas for Medical Freedom, we raised money to get banners. Josh Coleman and I are very, very good friends. He runs the Is for vaccine, if you guys haven't checked that out. But he's not here. He's in California. But we kind of run it for him here because we're united, you know. So I have been working very hard to try to educate parents, and hopefully, even if you want to get the vaccine, I do feel like you should be well informed, have proper informed consent. And if you have proper informed consent and you want to make that choice, that's on you. But at least don't let the government dictate that to the people, right? That's not their place. So I have been trying to reopen Texas since Shelley Luther. Any of y'all have heard of Shelley Luther before? So she's the Dallas salon owner, a good friend of mine. We stood outside her place for a week trying to help her reopen her salon. And all I'm just here to say is that vaccine mandates are unconstitutional. They should be outlawed, illegal. You cannot dictate what I put in my body. You can't tell me I have to take a test in order to work and feed my family. I mean, we have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? And those are God-given, by the way. God-given. That means God gave them. No man can take them. And my grandfather and his dad, so my great-grandfather, fought in World War I and World War II. And they didn't fight in that so that we would just roll over and pass it on and just say, okay, we'll just do whatever you say. No, no, no.
Exactly.
No, we are fighting. Every single one of y'all is fighting. Every time you walk into a grocery store, you show somebody your smile that they haven't seen in a year, or you're educating people. Like, this is how far removed from science we are, you guys. Gender is not a construct. It is not a construct. It is a chromosome. XXXY, y'all. Like, literally, God made them, male and female. Now, I love everyone. I love everyone who struggles. I have almost a master's degree in counseling, which I didn't continue to pursue, but I wanted to at one point in my life. So I love people who are struggling, and I want to be there for them and help them. I want to lead them to Jesus, but at the same time, we have to address things. And a Johns Hopkins doctor one time wrote that it's a delusion. It's a type of issue that we need to take care of these people and help them. Just because, well, let's say I'm 90 pounds, okay? Which I'm not, but let's say I was. If I was 90 pounds and I said, listen, you guys, I need liposuction real bad because I'm so fat, what would you guys tell me? You're not fat. You just think you're fat. Yeah, there's something going on in here that you believe that about yourself. And so, like, they're having issues. That's why a lot of people change their gender and it still didn't solve the problem. And they're struggling because they're still struggling. So it doesn't actually change the genetics. It doesn't actually change the brain, unfortunately. So I love everyone and I want them to get help. But just know that that's how far removed from science we are. Is
And he don't make mistakes.
He doesn't make mistakes, that's right. And even if there was something going on that was just abnormal, let's say you're born with both or something. I mean, there's some parents that have chosen, oh, I wanted a girl, so I chose that. And then that person struggles. Well, I get that. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes things happen. But the point is that the government should not dictate to us what we can and cannot do as far as our bodies, as far as our children. And here's one more thing. I hope that you all know this, but we have exemptions in the state of Texas. So your children can go to a public school without getting a vaccine. Any of them, okay? Flu, any of them on the schedule. So just know that there are exemptions. If you don't know how to access them, let me know. But the one thing I hate about exemptions, and I think we need to fix, is that I shouldn't have to beg the state for an exemption to say no. I should not have to ask their permission to say no, to which they can remove from us one day, and that is happening all across the country. It has been the past 2 years I've ran my groups. I have been to Massachusetts to fight for their medical freedom. I've been to New York to fight for their medical freedom. This past 2 weeks in Connecticut, they lost that right to exemptions. You know, and one thing I will say is that if you are on the books to having an exemption, that can help you be grandfathered in if something were to go down in the future. So it's good to have one in a way, and it's also good to have your own. So I made my own constitutional rights exemption. That's an affidavit that I wrote my sincerely held beliefs, and I had it notarized so that they can never say that 2 years ago Lori actually wrote it down and I said what I believed. And so that I have that on record too, and I submit that along with it because I want them to have it and say that they signed it and say that they received it, because that puts me in a contract with those people now. And now they're in a contract with me that if they violated it, I would sue them. All right, y'all. Well, I'm almost done. I just wanted to let you know that I will not comply with their mandates. I haven't this whole entire time, and I will not obey any unconstitutional or immoral law. It is our duty as citizens to disobey unjust and unconstitutional laws. I hope that you guys spread that like wildfire because it's very, very important that they understand that they have rights. We have rights in this country.
Yes.
And so even if people are corrupt, because it sometimes feel like you're up against the man, like I feel like that a lot, whether it's the hospital system and things like that. I've advocated for probably 1,000 or more people since COVID, and I was advocating for people before COVID. So if your family members are sick, they need access to ivermectin, I know doctors who can help them, or hydroxychloroquine. If you're, sick and you're in the hospital system, your loved one or somebody like that, and you need an advocate to help be with you and explain things and fight for you, I can help you with that. But even in doing that, some of the hospital systems have refused care for certain people. They have refused certain things, and I have had a lot of success in bringing people home and off of the ventilators, but not always. And that's just the reality. I don't control everything, but I do what I can. So if you guys need help, my name is Lori B. You can find me on Telegram. You can find me on Gab and things
awesome. First off, what's today, Saturday? Yeah. Dude, we're still trying to figure out who we are. I'm Chris Pullen, I'm the owner of the Rail Club Live down there in the west side of Fort Worth. We're the guys that told the government where they can stick it with these unconstitutional shutdowns. So forgive us, we had a sold out show last night, so we're still waking up. So it was an awesome night. It's amazing to see things go full circle. It's amazing to see. Turn it up.
Can't hear back here at all.
I own a rock club. I'm used to holding a microphone. I don't know what I'm doing with this thing. About to sell you guys a timeshare. Seriously, all jokes aside, on July 4th, on June 26, 2020, Governor Greg Abbott signed Executive Order GA-28, which literally, he told you guys to shut down the bars, but in all reality, he shut down the 51% bars, which is all made up of small business owners, VFWs, El Quadras, American Legions, no corporations whatsoever. We have the same mixed beverage permit as Applebee's, the same mixed beverage permit as Chuck E. Cheese. You know, the list goes on and on and on. So as you can see, what they did is they were playing off the fact that we don't have lobbyists. We just came out of a 90-day shutdown that we all complied with. We're all broke. We have no voices whatsoever in order to fix this. And they played off the ignorance of the general public not knowing what a 51% business is. You guys know what a 51% business is?
Yep.
You didn't have one, probably, right? But it's more of an industry term. It means you can't bring a gun on the property, right? That's all it means. That's the only difference. But what made GA-28 so damning to our industry had nothing to do with the sale of alcohol. It was literally inverse condemnation, not eminent domain. They shut down our properties and said the only people allowed on 51% property is the owners or the operator of the building. That means my employees, my mother, are not allowed on my property. It's the equivalent of me coming to your house and saying Grandma's got to go for public safety. You punch me in the snot box, right? I would hope so. I hope America still has a backbone, because it's important that we all remember that we are the fourth and most powerful branch of the United States government. We, the people. Seriously. And it starts right here. It really does. It really does. I mean, take a good hard look at me real fast for a second, all right? I'm sure some of you guys know my name, and I appreciate the hell out of that. The entire reason why we're still standing is because of this community. But I just want you guys to look at me for 2 seconds. I'm hungover from a show last night, a great sold-out show, to be honest with you. Great night last night. I'm covered in tattoos. I own a rock club. We're broke as a joke thanks to COVID. I'm 1.5 feet shorter than the rest of the male species. But we were able to unify the bars and give Texas a run for their money. Right? I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that to challenge you, to empower you, because I want you guys to look yourself in the mirror and realize you're 100 times better equipped to kick these guys and fix all of our issues if we would just stand up. You are better equipped than we are. I promise you that. Every single one of you, we have proven without a shadow of a doubt, money does not fix problems. I mean, it does. But we don't have any. We're still standing, right? We're still standing. It's community. It's literally the people. Like-minded individuals standing together to fight for a common purpose. And in this case, I think we're all tired of the government overreach. So back to GA-28. What we did is we realized right then and there we were damned if we do, damned if we don't. We either stand up to the most powerful state in the union, or we starve out, and we're done. Just like 33,000 other small business owners in our industry. That's unbelievable. Take that into account for a second. Those are independent small business owners that have literally put their entire life savings into their dream just for it to be taken away out of something that's completely out of our hands. Your Fifth Amendment states, private, everyone thinks it's your right not to incriminate yourself, right? That is true. But the back end of your Fifth Amendment states, private property cannot be taken for public use without just compensation, right? Eminent domain, they have to compensate you. They have to pay you. All right, in this scenario, they did not. They shut us down for public safety, right? Public use in this scenario would be public safety, right? The whole essential versus non-essential thing, remember that? I don't think, my bar might not be essential to you, but it is to my family. It is to my kids. It is to my vendors. It is to my business partner. It is. It is. And try having to explain that to your children while you're out of work. You can't open up your legal registered tax-paying business. Because I'm telling you, the story gets worse, fellas. It gets way worse. Not only did they not compensate any of us to shut down, not only did not one 51% business, and I wouldn't know I speak for them, not one 51% business or VFW got an SBA grant. We all got declined for it. Every single one of us. We applied for it back in May. We got denied for it in September. They said we had bad credit. Well, of course we had bad credit. We've been shut down for months. You know what I'm saying? All those CARES Acts and things like that, save the venues, things like that, guess what? Not 151% got it. What they tell you on TV and what actually happens is two different things. That's exactly the problem here that we're facing. Is if you notice with July 4th, if you guys follow that story whatsoever, I was formerly a hazardous material specialist for 10 years. I was part of the Ebola strike team. We're part of the bird flu up in Montana. I mean, we have lots of experience in infectious substance and things of that nature, right? So all we did on July 4th is we opened up, we called it the Rail Club Tea Party. And you gotta give it up for James for coming up with that name. My business partner came up with Rail Club Tea Party. That was the greatest name ever, man. Greatest name ever. But what we did is we did not sell alcohol. We locked it all up. All it up. Mind you, we used to make these safety plans for the state in my former career, right? No alcohol, no money. We didn't charge any coverage whatsoever. And the only way you could be there was off of invite only because we were doing a demonstration. We were pitching a safety operating procedure to the state of Texas to allow our industry to reopen. Because at the time, we were too naive to believe that there was something much more sinister at hand. We thought it was just government oversight. We know Abbott doesn't go to the bars. You know? We thought it was government overreach. So, as you guys saw on TV, Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission walks in the door, suspends our liquor license on national television for peacefully assembling in the building that we operate. Yeah, exactly what happened. And ever since, we are still fighting these guys to this day. But that was the spark that created the forest fire we have today. 2-3 weeks later, we did Freedom Fest, which you'll never know this, but this was the largest bar protest in American history, hands down. We did it by ourselves July 4th, July 25th with Freedom Fest. 797 bars stood in solidarity with the Rail Club Live, implemented the same exact safety procedures. We got handshakes and high fives from health code officials all over the state of Texas, mayors, you name it. Betsy Price even gave us her blessing before she wrote me $30,000 worth of citations. Seriously. Not one Freedom Fest was shut down. So what I'm getting at, the reason why I'm telling you guys this, is because after proving twice on national television that you can operate your business safely, they still had to shut down. So when they shut down your business, all you have is time to figure out why. So now you got to start tracking to the root of all evil: money and political agendas. Alcohol sales is all public record. You know why they didn't shut down all the bars? We paid more in commercial taxes than any other industry in Texas. We pay almost 15% a month in liquor taxes. 15%. Texas can't afford to shut down the bars. They can't. So what I'm getting at with the public record thing with tax dollars or alcohol sales, it's all public record. Boomer Jacks. I love Boomer Jacks, dude. $3 crown down, you can't beat that. James and I can't afford to do that. Love Beverage, and I'm not complaining about them whatsoever. But looking at their numbers, in June of 2020, all the bars are open. July 2020, only the 51%ers are closed. Boomer Jacks showed a $77,000 increase in sales, which proves without a shadow of a doubt that 51% patrons didn't quit drinking. They had to go someplace else. That's exactly what took place. And if you start looking at TABC's numbers with the reported taxes and things like that, alcohol sales for mixed beverage holders actually went up 10%. 30%. Our data showed 10%, but if you, I get what you're saying. I know what you're referring to. Hey, I like 30% much better because it just proves the point that much more. Corporations made millions while small business owners were starving out. And here's a fun fact of the day. The Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission defines anybody with an alcohol permit as an outstanding citizen. This is why this is important to every single one of you. If they are willing to violate 6 of my 27 constitutional amendment rights to what they define as an outstanding citizen, they'll do it to you. Hands down. Hands down. So, once you start diving into the root cause of this, stop looking at the media articles. Defies Texas to host 4th of July party. I don't know about you, but I've never had a party with no alcohol for an hour and a half in the demonstration. Also, it's my birthday. Word of advice to everybody real fast, don't ever defy the most powerful state in the union on your birthday. Don't do it. Because it's like, you're giving out instructions on Facebook. It's like, we're going to do this today, Texas. We're going to rise up. We're going to show them what's up. We're going to be able to reopen the bars. It's going to be great. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. All day long. And they even published that in the newspaper. You know, Chris Brown opens up to have his 28th birthday party. No. We did that literally to demonstrate to the state how we can safely reopen. Right? Out of all the contact tracing investigation they did, not one COVID case came back to the Rail Club Live or any of the Children of Liberty bars. Not one. Not one. Not one. But that's what we're up against, guys. What we don't realize is every single day, our civil liberties are being taken away. Every single day. And the reason why I get up on this stage and I speak at all these things is because everyone thinks that I'm fighting for the bars. We're not. This is so much bigger than the bars. We have gotten beat up for the last year, and we're still fighting them with every ounce of their being. I'm here to tell you, when you take on Texas, Texas takes on you. I used to be as tall as you, brother, right before this. Because they knocked me down a little bit. Yeah, I still got my pride and my integrity, so, and they can't touch that. But what I'm getting at is, it's amazing how well it's all connected. Who does what, who's scratching each other's backs, and that's the good old boy system that we need to get rid of out here in Texas. We, the people, need to stand up and retake that. Seriously, we're forgetting all this. And like I said, the reason why I get up on these stages and stuff is like, it has nothing to do with the bars. I am the poster child of abuse. And I love it. I'm 28 years old and I can handle it, baby. I can handle it. And I got little man syndrome, dude. I got picked on my entire life. This is nothing different. But I'm blessed that it's taking place because I'm able to show you verbatim on Facebook Live every day what lengths they will go to shut you up. Where most people would see that persecution as they shut up. I see it as validation. I see it as we're doing something right. A concept literally has no meaning without an opposing force whatsoever. No movement in American history, in the history of the world, was without persecution. We can go all the way back to Jesus Christ if you would like. We can go all the way back to Martin Luther King, Susan B. Anthony. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. But what's important is all of our hearts are in the right place and that we're doing this for the right reasons. It's like I said before, the corporations don't give a damn about any of us. The only reason why any small business owner stays in business is because of that human element, our ability to connect with other people. And that's what we need in office, honestly. Our politicians are so out of touch with the guys that are working the shovels, the guys that are fixing the cars, fixing the bathrooms, painting the houses, cooking the food. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. And that's what we need to get back to. Amen. I couldn't agree more. You want to fix the world's problems right now? Take money out of politics. Seriously. Make it to where every corporation, every individual, every PAC can only donate $1,000. Then we'll let the people speak there. That's the problem, guys. The other aspect too, I mean, we got store-bought politicians, right? Store-bought politicians. So they're in someone's back pocket. Here's a kicker I bet none of you guys knew about. You guys familiar with Executive Order GA-17? It was signed April 17, 2020. You didn't see it in any publishing in the media whatsoever. You know what it is? Seriously, look it up when I get to talking. Look it up. It's going to tick you off. Greg Abbott created Executive Order GA-17, which gave his COVID strike force, right? COVID strike force. It gave political power to 39 members of his own self-appointed strike force. Here's the problem with those 39 members. They're all heads of major corporations. Tillman Frieda, the billionaire restaurant owner. Did you see one Saltgrass Steakhouse closed down during COVID? I didn't. They were supposed to be literally advising Governor Abbott in infrastructure, public safety, opening business, healthcare, public safety. The list goes on and on and on. Bobby Cox is on there. Bobby Cox is one of the corporate heads of Rose's Cafe. I think we can all agree that Bobby Cox makes some pretty awesome tortillas. But what does he know about opening up our schools? Why are we handing over that amount of power to corporations? I can answer that because it's public record. Campaign donations is public record. Collectively, as a whole, they donated over $2 million to his war chest, guys. We got a store-bought politician. The guy that doesn't care and doesn't care. But what I'm getting at is, clearly, we all got awesome things to do on Saturday, right? We all worked our asses off this week, right? But here we are because we care. And every single one of these events we come to, there's more and more and more people, and that's what's going to take. We live in a society, guys, where the minnows outnumber the sharks 1,000,000 to 1. Yet we're still acting like minnows. We're still literally acting like minnows. The overreach is everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. Do you care whether or not I wear a seatbelt or not? No, why would you? It doesn't affect you. So do you care if I open up my legal tax-paying business or not? No, you don't want to come? Don't come. Don't come. We go to Walmart, we go to Chuck E. Cheese, order a pizza, order a Bud Light, lick the ticket machine, and they'll give you a medal for it. They can stay open. That's unbelievable. And I think everybody should be ticked off because what I'm getting at too with the Executive Order GA-28, remember how I told you it made it to where no one was allowed on 51% properties? I want everyone to think about the VFWs, the Elk Lodges, the American Legions, and the other veteran bar organizations. Those are all 51% businesses with the same liquor license as Applebee's, the Rail Club Live, all of those things, but they're nonprofit organizations that literally raise money for the American heroes that fought for our freedoms that are being taken away, fought to preserve the very government that kicked them out on the street. And I mean that verbatim. Literally, veterans were not allowed on VFW property, whether alcohol was involved or not. Yeah. Seriously, they go there for counseling, they go there for camaraderie. That's like, most of them, it's the only family they got. And they would not let them in the facilities. Why? Does that make sense to anybody? Does that make sense to anybody? You know why? You gotta think about it. 2020, what happened in 2020? It was an election year. I think we can all agree, bars and taverns are the epicenter of every revolution and significant moment in American history, starting with the Sons of Liberty. And went from tavern to tavern. Paul Revere, the British are coming. They were, when the loyalist newspapers were literally putting out to the public that the British were winning, we got this. The Sons of Liberty went tavern to tavern to tavern to tavern to tavern to tell the real story of what was taking place. Rallying the troops, which ultimately led to our independence. And the entire reason why we're standing here now with American accents, not English accents. Yeah, the entire reason why we drive on the right side of the road. The entire reason why we call cookies cookies. I mean, I can go on and on and on. But why do you think they didn't want the bars to be open? Would it kill you to believe that out of the 300 channels on your TV, they're all owned by one of 4 corporations? Seriously, they're all owned by one of 4 corporations. Do you really think those guys care about small business? Have you ever seen a small business owner advertise on Super Bowl? Or on Fox, or on any major network whatsoever? No, because we can't afford it. It's the corporations, right? The more and more money they make, the more powerful they become, the more they invest in political ideas and things like that, the more we lose our nation. We are not a free country anymore, guys. We are an ask permission country right now, is what we are. Because remember, a year ago, we had to get permits to do this? In what world do we live in? Since when in America do you have to have a permit to peacefully assemble, to protest and ask the government for grievances? You can absolutely riot without one. There's a right way and a wrong way to do things, brother, and I totally agree with you completely. I'm proud to say we've been fighting the good fight to start time. We haven't rioted, we haven't looted, we haven't hurt, nor have we threatened to hurt anyone. But we can't even peacefully assemble in the building that we operate. Can't even do it. So I think as time has gone by, more and more people are starting to open their eyes to this entire thing. And I'm tying this in, so bear with me. There's just a lot of information here, a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that nobody really even got to see. Like I said, they violated our First Amendment. They violated our Fourth Amendment. You guys familiar with that one? You gotta have a warrant. You know, you can't just come in and tear things up. There's a live video on the Rail Club Live Facebook page still to this day from August 29th, 2020. September 11th, 2020. TABC comes in with 8 agents, blocks all of my doors and exits. All of them. They're wearing flak jackets. They got the gun here, taser here, bowed up, shouldering us, the whole thing. You can see it all in the live video. All to confront a 5'5" tall business owner for opening up his legal registered tax-paying business. That's what that was. But it got worse because they wanted to see my my liquor invoices from my distributors because we were selling under suspension. Mind you, they suspended us for opening up our legal registered tax-paying business. I ain't falling for that. We're opening it up. So they come up to my office and they want to get all of our receipts. Instead of grabbing our receipts, they grab all our receipts proving that we're open. Can you believe that? We live in a world where the government comes through to prove that we're open. Isn't that unbelievable? But it gets worse than that too. The comptroller froze all of our bank accounts. Did you guys hear about that in the news? Of course you did. Just about every 51%er had literally had their accounts frozen there for a while. I'm one of them. Reason being is you got to pay your liquor taxes every single month, right? Last time I checked, 15% of zero is zero. And I figured the comptroller, the Texas government would know that we're closed considering they force us to close. But if you don't file, they charge you $1,000. $1,000. And they froze all of our bank accounts. All of them. So like I said before, not only did they not compensate us, we paid them to treat us this way. Property taxes, sales taxes, paying our lease, paying our bills. You know, they tax. Right? We paid them to treat us this way. And I think every single day, like I said before, we're all starting to wake up to what this really is. Do you want to know what this all boils down to? Have you guys ever heard of a guy named Kevin Lilly? He is the chairman of the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission. Believe it or not, back in 2016, 2017, the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission, which we refer to as a domestic terrorist organization, I hope you guys are filming that, I mean it, they are. Their board of directors had to resign. Their chairman had to resign for using you and I's tax-paying money to go on vacations, to go on trips. That's what they did. They used our hard-earned money to go on trips, alcohol conventions. Yeah, so they had to resign. They didn't go to prison. They had to resign. That's the difference here. If I did that, you know they would have hung me from the highest tree they could have found. So, shortly thereafter, 2017, our good old buddy Greg Abbott puts Kevin Lilly in power over the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission. Here's the problem with Kevin Lilly. Kevin Lilly not only is in charge of the third largest state agency in the state of Texas, enforcement agency. They have the same jurisdiction as a game warden, believe it or not. Yeah, we're talking state police, right? Not only that, but Kevin Lilly is also the co-founder and active partner of Avalon Advisors, LLC. You guys heard of that? No, you haven't. It's the largest privately owned wealth management company in the great state of Texas. You see where I'm going with this? TABC's entire job is to oversee, supervise, enforce, penalize, what have you, in manufacturing, exportation, importation, transportation, sale of alcohol, right? Which means if Kevin Lilly's business, Avalon Advisors, invests $1 in any business that deals with any of that stuff, that'd be a pretty big conflict of interest. That's the equivalent of a judge investing in private prisons. It's the same thing, right? Well, it gets worse, guys, because we proved without a shadow of a doubt that he did. He got access to his holdings. He's invested millions of dollars in Coca-Cola, which has Topo Chico hard seltzer. Manufacturing, importation, exportation of alcohol right there. Sale, storage, right there. He invested in a company called Diageo PLDAR. I probably screwed that up, but it doesn't matter. You guys know what that is? Yes, you do. It's Crown Royal. It's Bailey's Irish Cream. It's Ciroc. It's Don Julio. It's just about every single name brand liquor that you can think of. That's what it is. So once again, importation, exportation, manufacturing, sales, storage of alcohol, right? Everything in which he's supposed to regulate. But we wanted to look even further. We wanted to see if he invested any money into any bars that got to stay open. And he is. He invested in a company called Carol's Restaurant Group, which is Taco Cabana. Taco Cabana sells Jack and Coke last time I checked in the nice little slushy machine they got, right? They got a mixed beverage permit just like the Royal Cup Live. You see a Taco Cabana close? Absolutely not. You see a TABC investigation? By the way, that's public record. You can look up TABC complaints. Taco Cabana doesn't have any. Kind of convenient, huh? Yeah. So let me ask you this. Kevin Lilly has no law enforcement background whatsoever. At all. He's got a master's in business administration. Yet he's in charge of the third largest state agency in the state of Texas with the same jurisdiction as the game warden, right? Why is he in charge of the TABC if it's not to protect his own self-interest? Seriously, that's like Mark Cuban wanting to be head of the highway patrol. That makes no sense whatsoever, does it? So it's easy to see without a shadow of a doubt what's taking place here. And when we blew the whistle on that, by the way, when you blow the whistle on something like that, even though it's public record, they come at you hard. Real hard. Dead birds, dead threats, you name it. Yeah, lots of dead birds. You hungry? Yeah. Okay. But seriously, that's what it all comes down to, is money, clearly. No wonder they didn't shut down all the bars, right? Executive Order GA-17 let all these corporate heads dictate how things were going to go down. You didn't see any of their businesses closed. In fact, if you look at public record, look at the tax, what they're reporting to the state, taxes, they're through the roof. How do you make money in a pandemic? By shutting down your competitors, your independent small business owners. And I think we can all agree. I think we can all literally agree. I think we're all tired of the mask. The best way to put an end to all this stuff is just to quit listening to it. Quit listening to it. Betsy Price gave us her blessing twice on national TV. Twice. TABC came in that day, walked all our doors and exits, 15 of them that time. 15 of them that time to confront me. I'm honored. Right after TABC left and we told them we're not shut down. Your business is closed and your bank accounts are frozen. They literally made it to where I could not pay it. And it wasn't even a lot of money. And it wasn't even about the money, it was the concept. There are men out there, women out there that are 20, 30, 40, 50,000. I'm less than $1,000 behind and I can't physically pay it because they shut down our bank accounts. The government, after shutting down, the government shut down our business and froze our accounts. You get what I'm saying? That is the lengths they will go to shut you up. They wanted to throw me in jail for 2 years for that. They charged me with 4 counts of punitive contempt. They wanted each one to carry a 6-month sentence. That's 2 years for being $800 behind, 1 month, 4 weeks. Yeah. We said that's a violation of our 8th Amendment. It is. That's cruel and unusual punishment. I didn't quit my job. I love you, buddy. I wish my ex-girlfriend would say that. But I didn't close down. I didn't walk away. I didn't become a deadbeat. No, you shut it down. And here we are, right? But what I'm here to tell you, the more of these conversations we have, the more people that show up to these, we have become, and knock on wood, I don't mean this in a bragging way, we've become unstoppable. The minnows became the sharks in this scenario. We had 800 people in our bar yesterday. You really think TABC is going to come in there? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because they know they're wrong. And the best way, literally the best way for us all to combat this thing is to stand up. It's to stand up, just to say no. Put the mask on. No. What are you gonna do about it? No. I'm living proof they're not gonna do anything about it. They're not. Shut down your business. What are you gonna do about it? Nothing. Not a damn thing. It's all bark, no bite, because we, the people, the 4th most powerful branch of the United States government, are in control of this. And as soon as we can turn off our TVs, and as soon as we can start figuring that stuff out and standing together as one, instead of standing up for self-gain, we all start standing up for principle. We all have a duty to one another. You guys realize that, right? We all have a duty to stand up for one another's unalienable rights. Our God-given life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, the United States Constitution, the Texas Constitution. We have that responsibility. Everyone thinks that 2nd Amendment exists to protect us from the Chinese or the Russians. It doesn't. It's to protect us from our own government. It's to hold them responsible. Because I think we can all agree a government that is scared of the people allows a free nation. Where if it's vice versa, we're in North Korea all of a sudden. I don't know about you, I don't want to go to North Korea. I don't. I want to be able to smoke my cigarettes, drink my beer, pay my taxes, raise my sons, and live that American dream that they're trying to take away from us every single day of our lives. Every single day. And I think every single one of you guys are here because something happened to you too. Whether it was the mask or the vaccines or things like that. And that's why it's important that we have these conversations, because every day, no matter how much our ideas might politically align, the way they have made the system nowadays is literally this. I can make you a list right now. And eventually we will find something that we're divided on. Whether it's race, whether it's religion, whether it's mask, no mask, vaccine, no vaccine, or remote learning or going to school. Literally, they have made that by design. To at some point we will disagree on something, because a divided nation is easy to conquer. It's easy to rule. It's easy to rule. So the second we can stop listening to that stuff and bound together like we're supposed to, we stand up for principle and not self-gain. That's the day we can make this world a better place than we found it. Seriously is. It seriously is. And we got a long way to go. We do. We have a long, long way to go. But like I said, these are growing more and more and more by the second. Back in 2020, everyone said we were killing grandmothers and things like that. They were horrible to us. But we hung in there. We kept fighting the good fight, to the point where we were able to shift public perception 180 degrees. We were able to gain that Facebook following to show people the truth of what's actually taking place. We don't film videos, we film live videos. To prove to you we're not editing. To prove to you, without shouting out what the media says we did, versus the 4-hour live video of the whole entire event shows. You get what I'm saying? As a small business owner, after seeing what they did to me July 4th, it all of a sudden opened my eyes to stuff. Because if they're willing to screw around with a small business owner trying to feed his family and lie like that, we're hosting a 4th of July party, we're all getting drunk and packing the place out, what else are they willing to do? I don't know, maybe rig an election. Maybe shift public opinion in whatever direction they see fit. Yeah. Seriously. Like, think about that for a second. If they're willing to mess with a small, no-name rock and roll venue on the west side of Fort Worth for opening up a legal registered tax-paying business, what else are they willing to do? Absolutely. So like I said before, we take money out of politics and make this world a better place. We can all turn off our TVs, have more conversations like this, make the world a better place. We can all bond together, united under one flag, make this world a better place. Seriously. Hey, I'll be out hanging out, shaking hands. I'd love to meet you. I'd love to get to know you guys. We are still fighting to this day to prove to you how petty this entire thing is. We are currently in court with the TABC for selling 3 expired PBRs in September of 2020. Here's the kicker. We didn't sell PBRs in 2020. Yeah, they're trying to take away my liquor license right now for selling a beer we didn't even sell. Yeah, and they have the burden of proof, guys. They have the burden of proof. And the burden of proof is 5 agents saw us do it. But mind you, if all you gotta do is look up TABC corruption, 9 million things will pop up. And you'll see firsthand the mafia the TABC has become. You know what I'm saying? It's insane, fellas. It's insane. But what we have learned throughout this entire thing, as long as we stick together, as long as the community is around, we have proven without a shadow of a doubt that the people, brothers and sisters, friends, family, all staying together is one, not even the most powerful state in the union can take you down. Can't even take you down. And that's what we need to do here, guys. I appreciate your guys' time. Thank you guys so much for allowing me to speak today. Thank you guys very, very, very much. Very much. Like I said, I'll be out. I'd love to meet you guys. I'd love to meet you guys. We're doing a bunch of fundraisers. We're suing the state right now, so we're doing a bunch of fundraisers and things like that. Because that's the biggest problem. I'll just end on this point right here. This is important for all you guys to understand. They violated our rights on national television. It's on TV. You can Google it. And you'll see the whole video right there. But when the government does that to you, they don't write you an apology. They don't. No, they try to drown you into submission. They try to get you to shut up. The problem that we face as Americans is literally for decades now, politicians have put miles and miles of red tape between you and them. So when they violate your rights on national television, it's going to cost you at least $250,000 just to scratch the surface. And they're going to fight you with your own tax dollars. They pay their attorneys by the year, we pay ours by the hour. Do you see the problem here? It costs the average citizen $250,000 just to scratch the surface. Because what does Texas do? Oh, well, we're going to postpone it, we're going to push it, we're going to push it, we're going to appeal 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 it. And they're finally going to start out, they're going to go away. That's the problem, guys, is everyone backs off. They back off. We can't back off. We can forgive, but we're not going to forget what they did to us. We're not. They destroyed countless lives, thousands of veterans, thousands of small business owners, their employees, their children. Destroyed them. And the guy's still in office. 200 years ago, we would not allow that to happen. I own the Rail Club Live. We're right over there on the west side of Fort Worth. We've hosted rock stars from all over the country. Yesterday we had Drowning Pool. Now we literally use our bar to show you the civil liberties that are being taken away from you and I every single day. We're no longer a bar, guys. We're a concept. We're a revolution. And at the Rail Club Live, you're home there. You're safe there. And we can have these conversations. And we can continue to stick it to the establishment and take this good old boy system down. I appreciate you guys more than you know. Seriously, I'll be down. I'd love to meet you guys. Thank you guys. And thank you guys for being here and support. Seriously, thank you.